Hello there, Narrowbanks. Welcome back to Williams Racing. We're about to start our 6th season of this speedrun that ended up being way longer because it was actually far more fun than I anticipated. Now, the 1.7 patch has been delayed until sometime next week, so with that we also have a good reason to continue the save. Won't really get anything much done on any other game with so little time, but we are going to continue here. We did a change last time. We let Doohan go. We got Pourchaire in instead. And I got hinted at that maybe the reason why I couldn't hire any of the young talents here is simply due to me not having scouted them. But it might be that. It would be weird if it was. But we're going to run some detailed scouts here on the, talents in question, just to be safe. And I believe it was these two. This lady. So again, want to try and get a female driver in. Before, well, the challenge basically. And I believe we already have scouted. Yeah, we already have scouted her, so... It's just weird though. Like, if you want to have new gens come in at 18, they need to basically have done, F2 or F3. Especially when there's so few. Like, we had 4. This year, judging by the age. Last year we had 7. If we're going to keep getting so few talents and not being able to use them until, they are 20 plus years old, it just it makes it a bit weird. But let's continue here. We had the huge change to regulations. And we're about to start a new season, so let's get right into it. Welcome to your new season. We're going to review things, sponsor obligations. Basically just to see that they don't mess with us. This one's already perfect. Use as much merchandise as possible to get more income per race. Race simulator events, again, all these are capped at 15. So if they are 15, they're good. If they're anything high, we're going to tune them down. And of course the driver appearance, we are going to sacrifice car 2 again, sadly. And cap that at 10. Again, I really wish we could get rid of these. Like 3.5 million over the course of the season is nothing to us. I really wish I could get rid of this this driver appearance obligation. It would be very good to do so. Yeah, I can't make those switch those out like that. It doesn't work. But as you can see, we will have a 105 million core funding from the sponsor based on our result last year. Obligations, which is basically what we just set up, will give us 16.6 million for a total of 121.6 over the course of the season. 13.5 million right away, and then 4.9 million per race. Looks good. Let's continue. We completed all our objectives last year with first in both the championships. Money wise, we're still doing good. This is the preseason balance basically. You see it, 2026 balance. This should be a bug here because we'll have more than, this money once we get in. Technical regulation, let's see how we did. So as you can see, we're losing a lot in suspension. Our suspension is going to be weak. We're probably going to have to focus a lot on it. Now underfloor, not as much of a loss, but we still lose about half of, 20%. That's still a lot. Side pods, however, took a huge drop. 43% in cooling. 40% in drag reduction, 30% in airflow. Our rear wing got mitigated same way that the underfloor did, so we're off better, but still not great. Front wing didn't get as much job done, as you can see, so we're lacking, I think, 1, maybe 2 researchers to get them up to the level of the others, sadly. And our chassis, of course, took a beating, for sure, so... I'm going to be curious now how our car stacks up towards the rest, and how quickly we can improve it again. No changes to the, the price share for this year, which is good. And sporting, we're back to the old point system of, only the top 6 positions get points. Nothing for pole position, nothing for fastest lap, nothing for, well, no double points. So that's going to be a bit interesting. We could switch our engine here too to make it a bit more interesting. Say go with Renault. It could actually be kind of interesting because it's still not a very bad engine. Still decent, but we might test that next year. For now, though, I think we're still good with just sticking with Red Bull. The power is good for us, like really good. And currently we are managing the engine as well, so we're just going to stick with Red Bull. It is maximum power. It might be a bit cheap to stick to them. There's been some suggestions that we change, but it's an engine that we know, and a system that we know, and we know that it works. So I think we'll just stick with it. We might experiment in a different shape, but personally I think the Red Bull engines probably are the best ones. You could argue that it's a bit lacking in fuel efficiency, but it's okay by me. Now, Pourchaire, new contract in Car 2. We got in Behrman as our reserve driver. Car part development has been opened. We're going to start that right away. ATR period. Team roster updates. Let's see if we figure out where... Oh, Verstappen has gone to Ferrari. Already, Spice. Let's see if we figure out if Doohan went to any teams here. Sainz and Norris in Red Bull. Ocon and Russell Mercedes. No changes there. Show and Gasly in Alpine. Schumacher and Magnussen in Alpha. Bottas and Perez in McLaren. Albon, Giovinazzi in AlphaTauri. Stroll and Tsunoda in Haas. And Doohan went to Aston Martin. Okay. This is gonna be quite the, you know... Honestly, it's probably the best team we could go to see how driver skills actually have an effect on the car they drive. But of course, we need to see just how the car looks compared to everyone else before we can make that statement, really. But yeah, Doohan got a drive. It's good to see. And Ferrari could be also interesting to watch. But again, that-wise, not too much of a difference between them. But again, it's something that could be interesting to have a look at. Now, as you can see, this was our previous season car, 2026 performance. We have lost more than 2 kph top speed. We have lost a ton of acceleration, cornering, everything really, as you can see. So, yeah, our cornering alone, 60% we had on the low speed earlier, it's now 34. 2.8 to 2.5, so... Yeah, this car does not look good. We might suffer, but before we make any, you know, guesses on if we're going to suffer or not, let's go to car analysis here. We could wait for the report, but according to this, our car is still best in best on the grid. Yeah, we're still first. And how is, say, Ferrari looking? They are actually a mid-tier car. Who's third? McLaren is actually 15 high speed. Red Bull is third in low speed cornering. Red Bull should have a good car this season. Shame that Verstappen left. Mercedes? Mid. Alpine. Again, stronger car than most of the, like, second to fourth, really. That's us. As third in top speed? Okay, they've taken my, you know, first season philosophy to heart and just gone all in for the speed. AlphaTauri, good showing. They should have a good chance here at coming up high, but as you can see here, 34 is first, 22 is second place, so we still have a huge advantage. Honestly, this regulation change might have put us in an even more dominant position. Let's have a quick look here at the Haas. What is their top speed? We have half a kph on, well, second place, because again, all teams have 2 cars. I really wish this would just go to first to 10th, but it doesn't, so you need to, well, first is first, third is second, so forth. But if we already have such a huge advantage, then I am concerned, really. And the Aston is gonna... They're third on cooling, but 19 everyone else, so... Doohan went to the back marker. Let's see if he can, you know, get something out of it. It's going to be a true challenge for him. And the last thing we want to check is Alpha. And they have... They can... Wow, I feel sorry for Magnussen. They didn't come out as good as they could have. But with that, let's start designing pieces because we're going to have to. We might have to decide what we want to design here based on, you know, current expertise. So as you can see, we have retained 60% expertise in the underfloor. We have retained 62.5% here on these two. Yeah, 63% here. And 61% here. So we still have our underfloor is still pretty good. Same for our rear wing here, I guess. 61.49. Yeah, about the same 62%. 62 across the board. Front wing, bit more shameful there, 55%. Still not bad, don't get me wrong, it's still pretty good. Cooling is going to suffer a lot, it's down to 37.9. We'll see if we have more lockups this season, I guess, but yeah, the parts have suffered. Let's check suspension. 45, 44, 44, 44, 39, yeah. Suspension suffered a bit. It's now 20% behind our underfloor, which is a bit much. But I think we're still going to focus underfloor, rear wing, front wing here in preseason. We're just going to make one underfloor this season, most likely. And we'll spend the rest of the time catching up on the suspension, the side pods, the chassis. Getting that 10% behind the underfloor, 5% behind rear wing and front wing. We might need to boost front wing a little bit. Might actually need to work a little bit on the underfloor once we catch up on the others. But let's check the side pods who actually, you know, took the most damage here. And as you can see, it's down to 35% in drag, 23% in cooling. I think that's lower than what we started with. 31.7 in airflow. So again, these pieces took a beating. But when you saw how our stats look towards number 2, this could actually be our most dominating season yet. And I'm not saying that lightly. But yeah, we're going to put all of the... I think that we'll only make one underfloor. Is the reason why we're putting everything into it. Because if you do this, it will not help your next part. It will only add stats to your current one. If you're planning to, you know, make 2 iterations, then you might spread things over other pieces. But if you plan to just make one, go all in on one piece. Or, you know, once research opens, put everything into research. That works too. But let's see here. How high can we boost our stats? About 80%. So not too far off from last season. As you can see, the boost here to our stats is pretty massive. Now, because we have until, you know, 77 days, we should be able to get this done in time if we put in 6 engineers, and we can. We'll get it done in 75 days. I don't think we will emergency manufacture it, but we'll have to consider it when we get there. We have 166 million to play with, so we have plenty of money. And with that, we have an underfloor. I'm thinking we do rear wing as well, and then we do what we usually do and delay the front wing a bit. Probably. Maybe. But yeah, rear wing, get everything up. And as you can see, even this is going to be a decent buff again. So, let's get the rear wing under manufacture. Do I want to put it on 4 days? Sorry, put 4 engineers on this? I think I do. And then we design one of each, and then we get a front wing going. Drag reduction, again, cooling is going to suffer. It's just how things are. Again, it's a pretty decent boost here from the chassis, because the stat boost is so high. Well, percentage boost, if we go back and redesign it. When you are low in expertise here, so as you can see, this is what a, you know, just a balance boost would do for us. And if we slap these up and stop cooling down, you can see that the gain is much, much higher. So that is why these sliders are so powerful. And of course the percentage points here are nice too. Put in 5 engineers, put it on in 10s, because again, we need to get our expertise up. And again, I'm wondering if I want to focus side pods and suspension here, because our front wing is 5% behind our underfloor, but our other pieces are lacking. So I think honestly we get the front wing going because it doesn't hurt. We'll just make 1 iteration this season, and we'll do a lot of research probably, because we are having problems with the cost cap now as a direct result of me building all the facilities. That one's on me. But we'll do this. We'll be lacking some pieces towards the end here. Probably side pods, but I think that will be okay. I got everything made. Let's check the drivers again, just because the year has changed. And it's now racing in F3, as you can see. So does that mean? Nope. Start at 18. We're probably gonna have to get a 20-year-old. Nope. No luck there. We'll get up to 21. No luck there either. Taco Sullivan is one we can hire, but again, it's someone we haven't scouted. I just wish it would say that if you could, hire someone or not, but if we need to wait until they're 21, it's going to be a bit challenging. Especially when you need to compare with, like, say, Crawford here and Behrman, because both are, pretty high up on the skill. Compare, like, 73 versus 66, 61. Well, it's not too much against Sack here, but we'll have to see how the other drivers look once they come up through the system, basically. But let us continue. We got everything we wanted done, I believe. So let's see how we can make this work. This good old preseason of ours. I did forget to do this though, which sucks because we've already done it. So let's get one in F-Low management and DRS Delta, and we are of course gonna upgrade that other personnel to rear wing, and then we'll do front wing. Race engineer has a point. Very good. Low affinity because they are near to each other. That's fine. And helipad refurbishment complete. Let's keep on going here. 2.5 months until Bahrain, and that's going to be interesting compared to have a comparison how we're doing with the other teams, because right now, as I said, we have a huge advantage, and especially when the car is this fresh, it's when that advantage shines brightest. If you catch my drift. So we're gonna have to refurbish factory. We're gonna have to refurbish the wind tunnel. And now here's the question. Yeah, up and coming driver, and I can't even sign him. Okay, this is actually annoying, but we'll have to see then. We might do something in a different save if 1.7 makes, save games have more longevity. Because although this has been fun, it's been kind of, a one-track street. One-way street, is what I meant to say. Behrman already has a point. We're gonna have to get up his pace stats here. That's what we're gonna focus on. He has good accuracy already. Needs a little bit more control, but defending, overtaking, might be a bit too high on those, in all honesty. But let's continue here. No, sorry, stop. I made a mistake. The chassis design is completed, and we need to manufacture it, and we also need to set up a new design. So at least I caught myself this time. So I'm thinking we get side pods underway here, because they did suffer so much. As you can see, even just the side pods here are going to give us a massive boost. 0.14 kph, decent amount of cornering. Well, an okay amount of cornering, and even some DRS top speed. So we're going to get this made before, hopefully, our next race. It should be doable. We're going to be lacking suspension, most likely, but that's something I can live with. Getting complete. Can't hire her, sadly. But she is an F3, so technically, by 20 years old, should be able to pick her up. Now, they only have 1-year contracts, most of these. Well, she doesn't have one, sadly. So we'll have to see who gets picked up next year, and probably one of these three if we end up doing Season 7. It might happen if the update is slow. We'll have to see how we do then. I have to admit, I am tempted to emergency manufacture the underfloor, just to see how far ahead we end up. Again, we need driver academies. We need to, be able to start working on people from a younger age. Constructed Champions won last year. Piastri, let's see if you can defend. And we will be manufacturing this front wing. We'll do 6 because I don't think we'll be making too many of this wing really. And we'll also of course manufacture a new suspension. That should be alright. And again, we're going to be doing probably actually just a lot of research this season, basically because Intense is the most efficient way. But we do not have the money. Well, we have the money, but we don't have enough cost cap to do Intense all season. It is the most efficient way to raise expertise, but because of our facilities, we will actually breach cost cap if we do that quite rapidly, in all honesty. Barcelona testing results, again here, same as last year, first in everything but cooling. And I'm pretty sure it's going to stay like that, so again, we might have gone a little bit too much towards the unlimited power spectre of things here. Behrman has 2 more development points, good. Put them not in control. Why did I do that? Braking and control then. I've been too used to Piastri, and that threw me off. Get Pourchaire, point in reactions. And the rear wing has been made. Let's get 4 of them under production. They'll be done in time. And I think we will develop another chassis, I guess. It should get the job done. Well, I don't know if it will be a huge upgrade, but again, it's just expertise boost at this point. And we kind of need to get a bit buff. We might do some intense designing on the chassis, and maybe side pods in particular, because it's fairly cheap. Boardroom, poor condition, let's refurbish. And ATR period has begun. I'm a little bit unsure what I want to do with this one. Because the front wing is lagging a little bit behind, I'm thinking we put this ATR into the front wing. And I think that should be an okay strategy. Now we have 9 days until the race. If we do rushed, we'll get it done for 1 car. And it doesn't matter. So we'll have 1 new side pod for the race, which I can live with. And honestly, we're probably just going to go ahead and decide. Yeah, we're going to do front wing, and we're just going to put the extra hours in so that again, it gets an expertise boost when you do this. It's not a huge boost, mind you, but it's still a boost. And of course, it's a lot of extra stats, which is mainly why we're doing it. So, as you can see, if we do this, we'll gain a little bit more than the other front wing. It's not a huge amount, but it's still a decent amount. So, we're going to do this. Put in the engineers, go intense. And again, the cost cap is going to suffer here as a result of this, but just how things are. Let's already have a look here on where we are projected. We have 32 million to spend, and that's going to last us the whole season. So if we continue as we have been during these 3 months, you can see how running intense, underfloors, rear wings, front wings, is going to make us breach this cap a bit too quick. So I think we're virtually done with design. We'll go full research once we, once the first regulations come through. Alright, testing results. We're still same ones as they used to be. Rear wings have been manufactured. The front wings have been manufactured. And I believe all projects are ongoing. They are. Let us continue. We're going to get the underfloor in production. We won't have it for this race, but again, it's a case of I don't think we're going to need them for this race, so it's okay. And with that in mind, I think we are going to be developing another side pod here, simply because I don't want the slot to stay idle. We might be a little bit in trouble in terms of money here, but I can live with that. We're also going to get the engineer back on the correct team. Current projects. This one. Give you an extra engineer. There you go. And hopefully we don't have a lot of crashes this season, which will, potentially bankrupt us if we're really unlucky. Factory refurbishment complete. Good. Race prep for Bahrain. Also good. Performance targets. I'm not going to do anything like last to first this time. We're going to see just how dominant the car is this season, I think. We're going to go all in on that. And therefore, we're just going to qualifying position streak. Both drivers, top 2. 5 races. I don't remember if this was always qualifying. If it was, then I've been silly. But yeah, we're going to gamble on that. Now, with that in mind, we are about to start the first race weekend here. But I'm thinking that we have a look at the car compared to the others, because we still haven't slapped any new pieces on it. Let's go to the warehouse. We have a new chassis, as you can see. 0.11 kph, 0.09 for DRS. A little bit of cornering, but still, everything helps. Chassis is mainly, you know, speed. Front wing is cornering, and as you can see, gives a decent amount. Rear wing, speed, again, a decent amount, 0.10 for the DRS, as well as some acceleration. Underfloor, we don't have that yet, but once we get it, this car is going to be a monster, as you can see. And we didn't get a suspension made, but we do have one side pod, which I'm actually going to give to Pourchaire here. Because as you can see, because of how harsh the side pod expertise got hit, just making one piece is 0.14 kph. And 0.11 for DRS, as well as a decent amount of cornering. So I slapped that on Pourchaire's car. I should have made side pods earlier, that's on me. But this could make, I think, quite interesting. So I'm going to change car to car 2 here, since we're using Pourchaire's car. And let's have a look compared to Ferrari, who now have, you know, Verstappen and Leclerc. But as you can see here, the cars are just worlds apart, really. Like, we lack cooling, but we've always lacked cooling. If this might not work in future patches once cooling becomes actually important. But right now, by foregoing cooling, well, we aren't even that far off in braking. We're just lacking a bit in engine. Our top speed is a full kph, 1.02 quicker than the Ferrari. We have a lot more acceleration. We have a lot more cornering. We have a lot more everything, really. So in terms of Ferrari, we should be able to just fly away, especially considering the advantage we have on low speed dirty air cornering and low speed cornering here. And if we compare it to, say, Red Bull, we still almost have a kph. We also have a lot of cornering. They have a little bit better, I think. And the Mercedes, again, we have even more top speed advantage, even more acceleration advantage. And if we take a look at the Aston Martin, I think Doohan will suffer a bit, but I have hopes that he will be making it back up. Now, this was basically preseason done. The regulation hit us hard, but by the looks of things, it hit our opponents way harder. And yeah, this season might be a cakewalk. But we'll try and see if we can pick up a potentially a female reserve driver. We'll see if Pourchaire can give Piastri a run for his money. And it's going to be interesting to see where Doohan actually ends up there, considering that he chose Aston. Well, Aston chose him, probably. I really wish he could have gotten a better seat, but I think the AI, when they hire drivers, only care about the overall. They don't care about the independent stats, is what I would guess. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting one for sure. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed. If you have enjoyed this, please like and subscribe. Helps me out a ton. And I do hope to see you next time. I am thinking about changing up the thumbnails a bit to make it easier for everyone. Might not be ready for this video, but I'll try and get it ready for tomorrow's. And what I'm thinking is that for the version edition, I don't know how to describe it, the after action report of, you know, this playthrough with races, I'll put a race car instead of the driver on the thumbnail. And for, you know, just the report on how the team is doing, no races, we'll keep the thumbnail as is. And that should help people who want to see the different the different versions differentiate. And I'll put a car and a thumbnail on the preseason probably. But I don't know if I'll get it in time for this video. I might have to use the old layout. I am running a bit short on time here. So we'll have to see. But I think it should be doable. Again, thank you for watching. And I hope to see you next time when we try our hand at Bahrain.